Hi everybody, welcome here to Musicians Edition. We are in the midst of spooky season here at Musicians Edition. So I'm on the piano here doing Monster Mash. So Monster Mash, I believe this is all the piano that you'll hear in the song. This is a loop that isn't the entire song, but just something that does repeat through it. So it's about 16 bars that we're gonna take down here. And I'd say this is a good intermediate level. It's only one hand, so it's not that difficult, so some easier players might think they can take it on, but you're going to want a pretty good grasp of reading the sheet because it's something that's really going to help with the rhythm of this. It's just kind of 8 chords to remember, so it's not really sounding too hard, but once you kind of hear the rhythm and the change-ups that happen in here, it can be quite a bit. So you want to have a pretty good grasp of reading the sheet to make this a bit easier, but hey, whatever your skill level, if you can keep up with what I'm doing here, I think this is a great song for anybody to have in their repertoire come spooky season to go ahead and impress our friends. Let's go ahead and hop on the piano and do this. All right, so we're at the piano here for our Monster Mash tutorial. So in this one, we're gonna break this up at about 2 bars at a time because that's when we're gonna see the chord switches happen. So for example, we're gonna start off with notes focused around a G major chord for 2 bars, and then 2 bars where it's going to switch to notes focused around this E minor chord, just an inversion of it here, and so on and so on. So we're going to take it down 2 bars at a time. Again, it's all just right hand. You might find some sheets that have left hand to it, but it's really just mimicking the bass in the song. It's a lot of instruments going on, but all I really hear is this right hand piano, so that's what we're going to take down here. And so what we're going to have is just a loop. It's not the length of anywhere near the full song of Monster Mash. Thank God. This is just a loop that repeats throughout it, which is still kind of long, but not nearly as bad as the full song. So here's my full performance. You can hear the whole thing you're going to be hearing with it before we go ahead and take this down. So go check it out. All right, and without further ado, let's do this. So here's the first 2 bars we're going to take down. Again, focused on one chord, that's going to be G major. So if you read those first 3 notes, these are a common triad. That's G, B, and D that we're going to start off with. So we're going to play this once. That's a quarter note. Play it again. And then what's that other note just by itself? It is the B we're already playing. So we're going to go 2 hits of the full chord, and then B. And then we can see 2 notes are staying the same. That's G and B, while we're swapping out D for an E. So we're going to go like this. Okay, so that's 2 of our full chord, G, B, D, B, and then G, B, E. And then we come right back to our regular chord, which is G, B, D again, for 2 more hits you can see to finish out this first bar. Kind of a lot going on. This rhythm's a bit tricky, but this is what it should sound like. Okay, one more time. Okay, and that takes us through this first bar. The first note of this second bar is really just a tie with the last note of the previous measure, so we're not actually going to play this first instance of GBD on the second bar. We're going to start off with another hit of B, that single note there by itself, and then we're going to go into GBD again. So starting this off with just B, GBD, and you can see we're back to GBE here. All 8th notes we're going to play kind of quick. That is GBE, GBD, BD. So one more time with these last 4 notes. And now we can put this whole thing together. So these first 2 bars, I know it's a lot going on, but once you kind of get into the idea of what this is, it gets easier and easier, I promise. This is what we have so far. A lot of notes for our first 2 bars, but that's what it is all together here. Here it is one more time. All right, so make sure you can play that one with me. Again, it's 2 hits of GBD, then B, then GBE, back to GBD, B by itself, one more GBD, and then GBE, GBD, BD. All right, and that is going to be our first 2 bars, so go ahead and practice that as much as you need to. The rest of these are going to kind of follow a similar pattern to this that you'll really get the idea of as we keep getting into this. So I hope you're not too frustrated yet. This is our kind of early intermediate level here, just doing one hand, but I think the rhythm is kind of the trickiest thing. So moving on to our next one, I said our next chord was going to be based around this E minor inversion. That's what we're going to start off with. We've already played this earlier, going from here to here in those previous 2 bars. So we're starting off with 2 hits of this. So far, similar rhythm to what we've already had before. So 2 hits of GBE, followed by a B. And then you can see on the sheet we've got a flat next to our E. We're going to go up to E flat. So instead of GBE, we're going to play GBE flat. And then immediately back to, that's a natural symbol on the sheet, which means we're going back to E natural. I know it's a lot going on. So we're going to go from G, B, E flat to G, B, E. There it is. Okay, so this full measure we have so far, we've got 2 hits of GBE, B by itself, and then this flat, back to our regular thing. There it is. All right, and we're gonna keep it going. We got a B by itself getting played here, followed by, in our next measure, GBE, another B, another GBE. So again, that's just this. Okay, kind of hard to just make sure you're playing the right fingers where you need to be. So only this B, and then all 3. Only this B, and then all 3. So altogether, these 2 bars we have so far. Okay, and let's finish this measure off, and then we'll put this all together a bit better. We are finishing it off with G and B still stay. We've stayed with those for the majority of the song. If you can read that top note there, what do we have? We have an F, but our key signature has 1 sharp in it at the beginning of the song, and that is always an F sharp. So that means we are actually playing an F sharp here. Any Fs we're going to read it as F sharp. There's not too many. This might actually be our... No, we do have some coming up later. So when we get to all those, we're going to read them as F sharps. In this case, we're playing G, B with F sharp, like this. So we're going to do 1 hit, 1 hit back to GBE, and then B, D. Similar to how we finished off the last set of 2 bars, where we have these 4 hits all in a row. There it is. So let's take down these 2 bars we just did based around this chord here, this E minor chord. We have this so far nice and slow. GBE to start us off. Here's that flat. Reaching up high to F sharp. There it is. So here it is one more time, a bit more put together. Okay, and tying this together, we can go ahead and play all 4 of our bars that we have so far. That's going to be like this. So from the top with that GBD that we had, here's the sheet for everything. Here it is, our next part. Okay, so it's a lot going on, and I think it's really hard to remember here, especially if you don't know how to read the sheet. So I think this is good practice for that, because even I play through this full thing and it's kind of hard to remember the little change-ups between each of these sections. So I do have that sheet there to guide me along. Even if you can't sight read it, just really a reminder on the type of rhythm you're going to go through. It's a really great guide for it. So we're going to go ahead and dive into our next part. If you need more practice in this, go ahead and replay whatever you need to do before we keep on going. Again, we're going to follow this same kind of a pattern throughout all of this, so it gets easier and easier as we keep going. So So in this one, we got a switch over to something different. We're gonna go ahead and go, here's our next set. We're gonna go with E along with B and C here. Not really a standard chord, E, B, C, so it doesn't really sound the best, kind of dissonant there. But we're gonna play this quite a bit here, and we're gonna alternate between this and just playing the A. That's what we're gonna see in this one. Really easy, it's just getting the rhythm down for this. So we have 2 hits of the E, B, C, then we have the A, 3 more hits, and then we have that tie, so we're not really gonna play the first one of that next measure. Another A, another E, B, C, and then we're gonna have E, B, D. So see how I have a 1 note change in there? We're gonna go E, B, D, E, B, C, and then A, C. Kind of tricky there. Here that is together. One more time. That's finishing it off there. So everything before that is just really getting the rhythm, and this is what that rhythm sounds like. So it's a lot of, remember, all EBCs with those A's. Here it is. Okay, so stick with that rhythm here. Let's go ahead and do that one more time. Okay, so line that up with mine as best you can, and that's going to take it down for this part. I'm not going to do everything together yet. I want to take on this one next set of 2 bars, and this really finishes out half of our loop. So after this next 2, you are halfway done. As hard as this has seemed so far, you're almost there. We're making a lot of good progress. So let's go ahead and take down this last part. Reminder of our chords so far of what we had is we're basing it around G, B, D. Then we've had G, B, E. And now we just took down E, B, C. And now we're going to move up to F sharp, A, D. And you know what this chord is? This is an inversion of D major. Just shift it up here. That D goes up an octave, but still a D major chord to finish us off here. So we're going to be basing it around this F sharp, A, D. Our extra little single note we're going to throw in is the A. So it's a lot of just this with this thrown in there. Okay? So look at the sheet. F sharp, A, D. We have 2 hits. And then here comes our 1 single note of A. And then here comes F sharp, A, D. And that finishes off this first bar. The second bar is different. It's kind of going to be something that connects us and pushes us to this next set of our loop here, which is going to be restarting off with our chords here. So we're going to go ahead and play this out, just this one measure first. Okay, that's that first one. Okay, and we're gonna go ahead and do this second bar, which is really just 1 hit of this, F sharp, A, D, and then we gotta really quickly jump, and we're gonna play, what are these 2 notes here? One is really high up on the ledger lines there, past our staff. That is a high D right here. The one below it is a lower D. So we're playing octaves here of 2 Ds. If this is too hard, pick whichever D to just play, or you could even get your left hand involved and have it play these as well too. I'm gonna try to do this with my whole hand with my thumb and my pinky, but you gotta do a lot really fast. This is what it's gonna sound like. We're gonna do 4 hits of this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're gonna go C, B, C. So again, you can go 2 fingers, or two hands. You can just pick whichever D you like, or you can do it this way. Okay, but it's got to be really fast once we get down to the full speed of this song. So try to pick one that you can eventually at least do quickly. If you've never played octaves like this, you probably don't want to do it like this. You got 2 hands. Our left hand's doing nothing this whole time. So get it involved. That's what we're gonna play. So it's again an F sharp, A, D, quickly jump, and that's how we're gonna finish off our halfway point of our tutorial here, of our loop that we're gonna play. And again, this is what repeats through the whole song, so we are already halfway done. I think the notes are easy, it's just the timing and the rhythm, so we're gonna backtrack and take a bit of time to focus on that further. But what we finished off here in these last 2 bars is that F sharp A D. Here that is one more time. Just got to tighten up that rhythm connecting these. Our full speed would really be more like this. It's tough to make that jump, but that is what it should sound like, closer to that. So from the beginning, let's go ahead and just backtrack and make sure we can do this first part of this loop. If you're already feeling really tired, just get this first half down as your stopping point and then come back and do the rest. The rest is based around largely the same chords, so the rest from here is going to be a lot easier because you're already used to what this song is already doing. But what we're going to do is this GBD, starting it off. So we have our 4 chords now: GBD, GBE, EBC, and F sharp A D as what we're basing it around so far. Now we just need to tighten up that rhythm. And what we've had is a lot of quarter notes and a lot of eighth notes. So really try to get an idea of what that's going to sound like. You can challenge yourself with the sheet and reading that tempo, or you can kind of just go off of what I'm doing here. I'm trying to not keep it super focused on the sheet for those who might not be the best with it, but just following along with what I'm doing here. So starting from the beginning, here it is. From the top, we have this GBD. That was our first section. And our second section was that GBE. All right, and our third section was the EBC. Oops, sorry, a C there. And finishing it off with F sharp A D. Jump up really high, or use those 2 fingers. So again, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, bum, 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 CBC. That's our halfway point. So all together here without any breaks, I'll play it a little bit slowly, and this is what we should have. I'll count us in for anyone who feels like they can keep up with this, but this is going to take quite a bit of practice, especially if you are at an earlier level. But all together here, it's going to sound something like this. 1, 2, here we go. That's our full thing. So again, I think the notes are easy. Remember your 4 chords that these are going to be based around and just work on that rhythm. Play back that little part I just did or my full performance at the beginning, match up with the rhythm that I'm doing, count it along, and you can, write it down on the sheet as you play along to help you out if that's how you learn better as well too. But that's it. So we're going to go ahead and tackle this second half. And in the second half, we're starting off with a familiar chord, GBD, our same first one as before. A little bit different here. We're not going to do this. We're going to stay with 2 hits of GBE. You can see it written on there. We got GBD, GBD, B by itself, 2 GBEs. Okay, second one's a quarter note, so it gets held a little bit longer. Then we go to a B by itself. That's the first bar, so here that is. Okay. Get ready to hit another GBD to start off the second bar of it. A lot going on in this one, so we're going to go GBD, B, that single note, GBE, straight into another GBD, B by itself, into another GBD. Okay, so just the second bar. So GBD, B by itself, GBE, GBD. That's a tie between the next one, so we don't play that second GBD there. B by itself, GBD. Okay? So these full 2 bars, here it is. Okay, this rhythm sucks. I get it, it's tough. But the chords, the notes are easy to remember. It's just the rhythm of how you're gonna play them, and sometimes the order of how you're gonna play them. But we're sticking all to just this GBD, the throw-ins of the GBE, and then just B the whole time here. So get the rhythm of it down and you're there. Here it is one more time. And it is a bit different from our very first 2 bars where we were originally with this chord. A bit kind of change-ups in here that's kind of hard to remember, which is again why I always just have my sheet here with me so I can kind of read along with it and remember what I am doing and the differences between these two. But that's what it is there. All right, next 2 bars, we're gonna go with GBE, our same chord we did earlier after that GBD, that E minor again. So what we're gonna do here is 2 hits of it, B again, and look, there's that flat E again. We're gonna go G, B, flat E. This one's gonna be twice. The flat's only there in the first instance of the chord, but we assume it stays for the rest of this measure. So 2 hits, that's what that means, 2 hits of this. So all together. And then one more B at the end coming here, but so far. B by itself here, and we're gonna jump into, you see that natural symbol on the next E means we're going back to GBE. Here we go, B, and now look, 3 hits of GBE, 1 more B, 1 more GBE. Okay, so look at this full thing, and let's get an idea of what that rhythm is. Here it is. All 8th notes a lot in a row there in that second measure. So that's easy timing, just remembering the order of those notes. So here the full thing is these 2 bars one more time. There it is. All right, so let's tie this together here. These 4 bars of what we have so far, GBD, into this GBE in this second half of the song here. Here it is. Next part. That's everything we're reading so far. And again, it's hard to remember the order in all this. It really is. So look at that sheet as your guide. Even if you can't fully read the sheet, mark some notes on there for the best way that you can remember this, and have this so you can play along with it. So again, here it is one more time, these 4 bars. I'll count us in if you want to keep up with me. 1, 2, here we go. There it is. All right, 2 sections left, 4 more bars. We are almost there. Maybe this is more than early intermediate. I don't know. You kind of do have to have a good handle on reading the sheet for this one. I really feel like you do, because I don't remember this whole thing, and I've played this quite a bit. I do have to have the sheet there to kind of guide me and remember all these, the order of the notes and the rhythm in all these different sections. So maybe this is a little bit higher, but I hope you guys are not too frustrated and you are sticking around with this. It is a really fun song once you get this whole thing down. And again, we're almost there. So 4 more bars. This next chord, last time we went GBD to GBE to EBC. We're not going back to that EBC, thankfully, because that was not a very nice sounding chord. We're going to go ahead and go to a nicer one, which is going to be EGC. You know what this chord is? It's an inversion of C major, EGC. So for this one, a similar pattern to what we've been playing throughout this, so once you get the hang of it, I think it's okay. So again, it's just EGC. We're gonna have one change up where we're gonna go to a EGD and then back to that C. So make sure that pinky's ready to move. I'm gonna go thumb, index, pinky, and then extend my pinky when I gotta play that D. We're gonna also throw in a G as our one single note. So we're gonna see EGCs, a G, and an EGD, back to the C. So all together here, we start off with 2 hits of that EGC. Here's our G by itself, EGD, then C, back to back there, so make sure you got that down, and then G by itself again. So this first bar, we've got one more time. There it is. Our second part, kind of similar to things we've done in the past here. So what we're going to have is E, G, C, that single note of G. You see that one note's going higher, that's our E, G, D, back to E, G, C. So one more time, we started off with this G by itself to lead us in. There's a tie between these two E, G, Cs. We don't play the second one. We're just holding on, and then we're gonna play a G by itself with another E, G, C. So this second measure by itself, starting with an E, G, C. Okay, one more time. E, G, C, G, E, G, D, back to E, G, C, G, E, G, C. A lot of rhythm action. So these full two bars by itself, based around this E, G, C, the C major inversion, here it is. Okay, one more time, let's count it in if anyone wants to play with me. 1, 2, here we go. There it is. And now we're going to finish it off with this last set, and then we'll put everything together here. Thank you guys for sticking with me here. I know this is a tough one, and I know I'm kind of speeding through this a bit because I feel like I could spend so much time if I was breaking down the rhythm of every single section, so I'm hoping you guys do have some grasp on reading the sheet and the idea of this kind of harder rhythm. But here we're going to finish it off with F sharp, A, C, and D, all four. So we're going to play all four together here in whatever fingers you find comfortable. It doesn't really matter. There's no extra throw-ins in here. There's no single notes. There's no change-ups to this one. It's just this chord 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So 2 quarter notes followed by an eighth, then a quarter, then an eighth with a tie, so it's really played for the length of a quarter. So we're coming in on the 1, on the 2, on the 3 for an eighth, and then so the 3.5. And then what is actually the 4.5 to finish us off. So all together here we get like this. One more time. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, 5 hits on this. We'll get the timing better a bit down when we kind of connect it together here. And then from what we did earlier, you can see that same kind of a pattern to finish off this set. That is again D and D. So whatever way you like to play it before, play it again that same way with 2 hands or whatever. This time it's a bit different though. Of course, they couldn't make it too easy on us. Instead of 4 hits, we're doing 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on these 2 Ds. You can count them up on the sheet too. And then you see a sharp. What are those 2 notes? It's octaves again, so if you know the name of one, you know the other one. That is an A sharp. And then this next one, it's another octave, so if you know the name of one, you know the other. That is a B. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A sharp, B. A bit more together. A little sloppy, but you get the idea. There it is. So we don't come in right on the 1 in this last measure. There's a tie from the previous one, so we do come in on the 1.5. Kind of annoying timing-wise, but once you kind of play this out, you'll get the idea of it. And of course, you can always listen to the song to help you with the rhythm here too. But these last 2 measures should sound like this. There it is. So let's do that one more time. Here it is with a little bit of a count in. 1, 2, here we go. Okay, again, remember 5 on this one. Last time we did it, it was only 4. But we did the extra notes after. Well, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A sharp, B. So we're going to do the second half all together. Let's get a good grip on this since we already did that with the first half. Then we're going to do this whole thing back to back. Then we're done. So of course, always rewind to any of these parts you might feel like you're struggling with, any of these 2-bar sections. I'm going to go ahead and do this whole second half together here so we can tie this all in. So our 4 chords to help us remember our movements is GBD, and then GBE, and then remember this time we did EGC, and then we did F sharp, A, C, D. So that's our 4 chord movement. GBD, GBE, EGC, F sharp, A, C, D. Even just practice moving between those 4 is going to get you more comfortable. That's what we're basing this off of right here. So let's go ahead and do this. I'll do this one slow playthrough from the beginning of this second part on this GBD. And here that is. All the way through, all these chords, all 8 bars. That's all of it. So that is everything together. Go ahead and replay that back for whatever help you need on the rhythm or remembering those notes. Remember those chord structures we have. Again, here to here to here to here, that this whole thing is based around. Read along with the sheet to get a reminder on the rhythm and when you're going to throw in those certain kinds of notes, whether that single B that gets thrown in a lot or whatever it is. So it's definitely good to have a good idea of reading the sheet or even just looking at it and kind of being able to see the differences in the notes once you kind of know like the chord that each set is based around. So last thing to do is just put this all together here. So let's go ahead and do one really slowly together for whoever's ready for it. I'll count us in. We can do this thing. And then if you're not ready for it, make sure you just go ahead and practice any of these other sections. This is going to finish us out here. Here it is. Let's count us in. And remember, the full thing, the full 8 chord structure is GBD, our first one, GBE, and then we did that EBC all the way back in this first half, and then we did F sharp AD. Those were our first 4 chords. Again, one more time, GBD, GBE, EBC, F sharp AD. Then in the second half, we go to GBD again, GBE again. Here's our mix-up coming. We have now EGC, and then F sharp AD with that C attached as well. So that's our 8 chord structure that we have going through this. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. I'll count us in. We'll do a nice slow playthrough so you can hear how all this sounds. 1, 2, here we go. That is our full thing. So again, if you do want to hear it full speed, I have my full performance from the beginning. Here that is one more time. to get an idea of a bit quicker, I'll play it one more time just a bit quicker here for you guys, and here that is. And that is it. You have conquered Monster Mash at a pretty intermediate level here. So whether you were coming here to find a sheet, to find the notes to play, or just because you might have been struggling with the rhythm on your own sheet, I hope this gave you a good grasp of what you should be aiming to play here. Again, I have my full performance of what is pretty much the full speed, some slower ones here, as well as the breakdown throughout the whole way. So hope you guys have a great Halloween and a great spooky season here, and that you can impress some people now playing Monster Mash. All right, have fun playing. We'll see you next time.